This is macOS Ken.
Apple argues against the DOJ case. Tony Sacconaghi teaches Apple investment history. And Shazam can name 100 billion songs. Can you? It is Thursday, the 21st of November, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Turtle Beach. Level up your game and get 10% off at Turtle Beach with code macOSKen at turtlebeach.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Apple was in court on Wednesday. A Reuters report says the Cupertino company was asking a federal judge to kill the suit brought by the Department of Justice, accusing Apple of being a monopoly in smartphones. On its face, the idea seems silly. There are lots of Android phones out there from which to choose in addition to iPhones. The DOJ's contention is less about whether there are choices, though, and more about whether, having made a choice, users are locked into it. The Justice Department is expected to argue that a lack of interoperability between Apple's hardware and software, and hardware and apps from outside parties, pretty much keeps customers trapped. For its part, Apple says forcing it to be more open would hinder its own innovation, and that limits on third-party hardware and services are legit parts of its business. The Cupertino company's lawyer told the judge that the government has failed to plausibly allege that Apple has monopoly power. No word in the piece on next steps in the case, nor on when a decision might be handed down. Historically, investors have benefited by holding Apple as a core position and adding on pullbacks. That is a sentence from Bernstein analyst Tony Sacconaghi, who spent at least 2 of the last 3 years, maybe 3 of the last 4, with a neutral rating on Apple shares and a slew of negative-sounding notes. But as the Monkees once sang, that was then, and this is now. Wall Street Engine, which is apparently only a collection of social media accounts, posted a big part of a note from Sacconaghi on Twitter on Wednesday. Did I say note? I almost want to say love letter. According to the Analyst, he and his increasingly view Apple as a platform company with over 2.3 billion devices and nearly 1 billion unique, demographically attractive users. Oh, I love it when he talks dirty about us. He likes Apple's position headed into the whole AI thing. He sees the Cupertino company benefiting in 2 ways. 1, an accelerated hardware replacement cycle likely starting in fiscal year 26, and 2, increased revenue through large language model distribution and third-party app integration. As a bonus, he likes the fact that Apple isn't spending huge on developing AI of its own, but partnering with others instead. Interestingly, he seems to see sour times ahead for Apple shares, but if those come, they are a buying opportunity in his estimation. Quoting his note, while the iPhone 16 cycle appears tepid and could disappoint, we recommend adding to positions below $200 or during the February to April timeframe. Overall, though, he seems stoked. Quoting the Analyst one more time, we continue to see Apple as a quality compounder, offering mid-single-digit revenue growth, improving margins, disciplined capital return, and double-digit earnings per share growth. In a bull case, he says he and his could see Apple at $290 a share. That is not the expectation, though. Sacconaghi has a 12-month price target of $240 on the stock, with an Outperform rating. The paths tread by developers and public testers have apparently converged. Mac Rumors ran a piece Wednesday saying that Apple had seeded the 4th betas of iOS 18.2 iPadOS 18.2 and macOS Sequoia 15.2 to developers. They were joined by the third developer beta of watchOS 11.2. Not many hours later, 9to5Mac ran a couple of similar reports. One said that Apple had made the third beta of iOS 18.2 available to its public testing program, with another saying the same for iPadOS 18.2 and macOS 15.2. Perhaps the most interesting part about those pieces? Each public beta was said to be the same software build as the aforementioned developer betas. Now we know about the big changes coming to iOS, iPadOS, and macOS, the ones specifically tied to Apple Intelligence. Still, 9to5Mac has found a few small tweaks in the iOS 18.2 beta. Among them, the video scrubber in the Photos app now shows milliseconds. Camera controls accessibility settings have been moved to the standard Camera Control Settings hub. You can now set a default contactless app to replace Wallet. That feature had been anticipated but was only just spotted. And there are small design tweaks to Apple Mail. Now, there does seem to be a truly new and unannounced feature on the horizon for iOS 18.2 and watchOS 11.2. Another piece from Mac Rumors has word of an All Rings Closed activity award. As spotted by Mohammed Al-Daravashi and others, the piece says, people get the award for closing all three move, exercise, and stand or roll rings for 100 days, 365 days, 500 days, and 1,000 days, with another one every 250 days after that. And no, none of us have missed out. Mac Rumor says the All Rings Closed awards are applied retroactively as necessary, with past dates of completion shown in the awards section of the fitness app on the iPhone. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Turtle Beach, helping gamers play their best at every level. I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but if you're gaming without a good headset, you're doing it wrong. Actually, do it however you want. Here's what I will say, though. Sound design is a huge part of a quality game. It deserves to be heard, and heard well. Around these parts, we've been rocking the Gen 3 Stealth 700, sent to me by Turtle Beach. And they are great. The Special Lady Friend is huge on the immersion they bring. That's thanks partly to the comfortable over-the-ear fit, and partly thanks to the great speakers. Personally, I dig their versatility. You can set up two devices, your console and a computer, say, for seamless switching and gameplay, or pair them via Bluetooth and wander around with your tunes. Comfortable fit, great battery life, and simply stellar sound. Whether for the gamer in your life or taking your own gaming to the next level, the Stealth 700 is definitely worth a look and a listen. Get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. For a limited time only, head to turtlebeach.com/macOSKen and use code macOSKen for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com/macOSKen with promo code macOSKen. Don't delay. Get the perfect gift now and get it for 10% off with code macOSKen at turtlebeach.com/macOSKen. Facebook Messenger has added Siri integration. That is the word from Mac Rumors. With that, the piece says iPhone users can now ask Apple's virtual assistant to make a call or send a message through the Messenger app. Hey, you. Send a message to person on Messenger will now work for hands-free calls. This is a feature that Apple has offered for some time, according to the piece, but Messenger did not support it until now. It's been several years since I dropped AT&T. Came across a story yesterday that once again made me really happy I did. Another piece from Mac Rumors says the carrier has started showing the word turbo in the iPhone's upper left-hand corner. That is for customers subscribed to the Death Star's Premium Network Prioritization Service. Apparently, on top of the crazy amount people pay for monthly service, they can pay $7 more per month for prioritized data access. That's said to offer improved speeds and lower latency for activities like gaming and video streaming. Remember when you used to pay for a service and get the service for which you paid? Well, you're getting something anyway. The new indicator seems to have started appearing after users updated to iOS 18.1.1, according to Mac Rumors. That said, the site says that could just be a coincidence. News of another new show for Apple TV Plus. Set for this spring, the Cupertino streamer issued a press release Wednesday announcing the 8-episode crime drama Dope Thief. Based on the Dennis Tafoya book of the same name, the release says the series follows longtime Philly friends and delinquents who pose as DEA agents to rob an unknown house in the countryside, only to have their small-time grift become a life-and-death enterprise as they unwittingly reveal and unravel the biggest hidden narcotics corridor on the eastern seaboard. Oops. Academy Award nominee Brian Tyree Henry stars. He also serves as an executive producer along with Academy Award nominee Ridley Scott, who is also directing the first episode. 8 episodes, as I say. The first 2 will hit Apple TV Plus on Friday, the 14th of March. And finally today, can you name 100 billion songs? Can you name 12? Apparently not, but Shazam is here for both. Apple issued a press release Wednesday saying that its audio recognition service has officially surpassed over 100 billion song recognitions since the service launched. According to a couple of useless but fun facts in the release, 100 billion songs recognized is the equivalent to 12 songs identified for each person on Earth, and a person would need to use Shazam to identify a song every second for 3,168 years to reach 100 billion. If you would like to get distracted by earworms or just be amazed by the songs people don't know, Apple has put together a playlist of the top 100 most Shazammed songs of all time. You can find that now on Apple Music. Seriously, how is Careless Whisper anywhere on that list? macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Turtle Beach. Level up your game and get 10% off with code macOSKen at turtlebeach.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Buttons aren't toys.
Buttons aren't toys.